So greetings, I'm Osha Cerese. I am your favorite dream doula, supporting you with birthing the life, love, and business you desire. Now today we are celebrating day 30 of the 30-day challenge I put myself on to post long form content every day over here on YouTube. Today is day 30 and we're here to talk about it. I am going to get into the numbers, the analytics, the growth, and all of the things that you want to know about as far as what happened on this 30-day journey. But first, I really want to talk about, what I learned. The numbers are going to be celebrated, of course, but I really want to talk about what I learned about myself and as a person and as a creator. So before I get into the numbers, I want to first of all, I want to celebrate myself and say that I'm proud of myself for setting this goal of long form content every day and actually meeting the goal. Last month we set and met the goal of getting 1,000 subscribers. This month there were two goals. One was met and one hasn't been met, and I will share in a few which one of those goals hasn't been met. But the goal that was met was posting long form content every day on YouTube. So I wanted to go over what that content was. So July, June 1st, we kicked it off with Mama and Me, which is what I call the segment where I join my mother on her morning show, which she has every weekday, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. She's live on her Facebook as well as her TikTok. You can look up Sweet Tea Inspirations on TikTok or Latanja Millhouse on Facebook so that you can watch that live. I join her every Monday now. And I was just saying that I could even see the growth from day one when we did the show together. The angle that I gave y'all was not giving, but we have had so much growth and we're growing every time that we show up on the show. On that first episode, we talked about what a dream doula is and how I support people in birthing the life, love, and business they desire, which was perfect because I was introducing myself to her platform. And then, of course, we did a gratitude exercise, which is what she does every day. We talked about ways we're doing well with prioritizing self care and the areas that we're still growing. And then we also talked a lot about some powerful life lessons and spiritual analogies from the movie The Wiz. And we asked some thought provoking questions that we also answered, which were: what part of you are you grieving? What part of you are you waiting to birth? Do you communicate your needs and relationships or expect people to read your mind? What have you been holding on to since last year that you're ready to release? And when does family loyalty become enabling? So we got into it on that first day. We really did. So that was pretty dope. Let me go over here and fix this real quick. I had to make sure that the other live didn't stay on the platform because I didn't want people to see that. So that was the first of the month. We came in hot for June 1st, June 2nd. As a matter of fact, I have an easier way to do this. Hold on. So June 2nd, we talked about, it was part one of what I titled I've been unemployed for over 7 years. And it's really talking about my journey of being self employed, being an entrepreneur, transitioning from leaving my career as a nurse, my decade long career as a nurse, and what led me up to that. So that was part one of that conversation. On June 3rd, it was a journaling prompt. Um, that I suggest you go check out. I don't really talk about what the journaling prompts are outside of the journaling prompt video because I want you to go there and do the exercise. So that was what we did that day. Day 4 was all about what we're missing in relationships. What's the disconnect between men and women? And just to give you a little preview of that, because all of these videos, of course, are still published, so you can always go back and check them out. My personal opinion is that men desire peace and appreciation, and women desire safety and effort. And I talk about these qualities, what I've heard from men, what I've heard from women, my own personal opinion as a woman, um, and how I feel like these qualities that we're looking for from the other, from the opposite sex, how they go hand in hand and how they're missing and why it's creating a disconnect and how we can do better. So I think that's a great video. Why are we missing each other? Day 5, it was the first Friday of the month, and that's when I go live and catch up with everybody, have an intimate conversation about what we talked about the week prior, just catching them up, giving them the rundown of how many new subscribers I gained over the week, and just having a heart-to-heart conversation with my subscribers. So that was the first time we did that on June 5th. On June 6th, I gave a recipe for the mimosa flower lemonade. And I know people probably like, okay, were you talking about coaching? You having conversations about life, love, and business. Where does that fall in? Where does that come in? I started out on YouTube as a vegan influencer, or someone who was transitioning from eating everything to being vegan. And at the time I think I started, I was still eating fish and seafood. So my platform was damn near vegan, which is still available as well. And I've asked my subscribers, my followers on other platforms, if they want me to start giving recipes again. And, so I'm going to sprinkle in some recipes here and there. I have lifestyle content, and that includes my vegan content and also recipes that help with mental health and wellness and overall wellness. And the reason why I wanted to share the mimosa flower lemonade recipe is because the mimosa flower is actually known to help people with healing from depression and heartbreak. And if you've been here long enough, you'll know that that is one of the journeys that I help people embark on, healing from heartbreak. So that was the relevancy of that particular video. And it was actually my most viewed video of the month. So we'll get into the numbers here shortly, but I just wanted to throw that in there. And then on the 7th day, I talked about a feminine wellness hack, which is changing out the type of tissue that you use. So you're always going to get a little self-love, self-care, wellness content over here as well. So that was week 1. We did it. We got it going. Week 2. So week 2, on day 8, June 8th, we talked about, that was Mama and Me segment, of course, on her morning show. We talked about the evolution that she's had as a model and designer. And we did a recap of her at the TLA fashion show, which was the previous day. Her experience. We talked about, the journey that she had with creating this 8-piece collection that she did that came out beautifully for the House of Johnny Ruth, her fashion house. And we also discussed what a healthy marriage looks like, growing up in a 2-parent home, personal growth, and much more. Go check that out. It's under my live tab if you ever want to go look at previous episodes of Mama and Me. Day 9, June 9th, was part 2 of how I've survived being unemployed for 7 years, which is technically self-employed, being on my entrepreneurial journey. I use the word unemployed as a hook to kind of get people watching and listening. But I really talk about what I've done since leaving my nursing career. Part 1 was more so what made me leave the nursing career, and part 2 got more into what I've been doing since then and my journey, and giving some information and some guidance on transitioning from going from corporate or going from a medical career into starting something of your own. And then, of course, we dropped another journaling prompt that Wednesday. Go check it out. I ain't telling you what the journaling prompt is because I want you to go do the work. Okay. It's always going to be about, personal growth, self-love, relationships, inner child healing, things of that nature. Day 11 was, should you change your last name after divorce? So I talked about some of the people that I've noticed that haven't changed their last name. That haven't changed their last name. Thank you. Since being divorced, some of the reasons why they haven't done it. And I also talked about my own personal journey with that because I got divorced when I was 24 and I didn't change my last name back until I was 36, I think. So go check that out. It's a good conversation. And I actually want to know more people's opinion about that. And day 12 was another catch up live where we talked about protecting your energy online and how important that is. What I've been watching lately, I gave y'all a little insight on some of my guilty pleasures of what I've been watching. I also talked about my book writing process and gave you an update about that. And then we just talked about life growth, healing, and everything in between. And then on day 13, I gave you a vegan steak recipe and or a vegan steak salad recipe, which I could eat a bowl of that every day. So go check that out. And any recipe that I put on my channel will also be collaborated with my Damn Near Vegan channel if you want to check both of those out. Both of those pages. There's plenty of recipes over there too. And then day 14, I gave y'all a weekend recap vlog. If you've been subscribed to me or following me on any platforms, you know that I used to do those consistently, the weekend recap vlogs. So I brought that back because I actually did something that weekend. Because sometimes my weekends are a little boring, so I ain't got nothing to share with y'all. But that weekend, I definitely had something to share. And then week 3, day 15 for Mama and Me, we talked about feeling seen, heard, and understood as a creative and much more. We talked about that day. On day 16, which was June 16th, I shared my personal journey with therapy, like what I've learned from therapy so far, what experiences I've had with each therapist that I personally sat with, and how I went about choosing them, what made me leave, what I learned from them. And I provided some tips on choosing a good therapist and also gave some insight on how people kind of treat therapy like dating. You get with one and you settle for them even if you're not happy with them. And that's something we got to cut out. If you don't like your therapist, get you another one. If you don't like the person you're dating, you ain't got to settle. Move on. Uh, so then, of course, day 17 was another journaling prompt. Go check that out. Day 18, June 18th, we talked about the emotional labor required when your partner doesn't fully show up. I talked about how you can, as a woman, sometimes we can feel like single mothers with no kids in these relationships because we have to parent our own inner child. And then if this man that you're with is not supporting you in that, plus you're also parenting their inner child, you got you on your own. I saw a lady talk about co or finding the right partner or choosing the right partner is like having to choose a co-parent for your inner child. And I thought that was so dope. And I'm like, well, some of these men ain't even showing up to help you co-parent your inner child. And on top of that, you're parenting there. So I thought that was a dope conversation. So go check that out as well. Day 19 was another catch-up video, intimate conversation live where I discussed being a multi-passionate and more. And then June 20th, I shared some highlights about Juneteenth and my personal connection with it, and gave you some insight into what it means to me, what it means to our culture. And I shared some throwback videos of me at Juneteenth, celebrations and parades and festivals. June 21st was a little self-care Sunday video about the power of taking a nature walk, a rainbow walk, a color walk, whatever you want to call it, and how that can create some mindfulness in your routine. And then last week we kicked off week 4, and so day 22 we talked about on Mama and Me on Zestful Living with Sweet Tea Morning Show. We talked about mental health, modern dating, community, and the Black woman experience. And because it's Men's Mental Health Month, we also, acknowledge that as well. On the 23rd of June, I had an intimate conversation about the desires and the realities of motherhood over 30. I'll be turning 38, Lord willing, in 26 days. I do not have my own children yet. And I wanted to share, my feelings, my thoughts and feelings about that. And, I talk about where the desire to become a mother even came from in my life, talking about, what I was doing as a child, what I was watching, what inspired me, what journey I took when it comes to my career, how I, in my nursing clinicals, how I really love the OB clinicals, how I, even as a nurse, I went and ventured off and learned how to be, or went and tried to get certified as a labor doula, but I took the labor doula training. I didn't necessarily go through with the certification process, but I talk about that. I talk about my experience as I think I talked a little bit about my experience as a bonus mother or stepmother in my marriage and just where I'm at with it when it comes to motherhood at this age. And of course, we dropped a journaling prompt last Wednesday. Go check that out and do work. Grab your notebook. Last Thursday, which was the 25th, we talked about the power of solo dating. And I want you all to watch that no matter what your relationship status is, because solo dating is powerful. Whether you're single, whether you're dating, whether you're in a relationship, or even if you're married, there is something about being confident and being brave enough to go do things on your own and not sit around waiting for somebody else to live your life. So go check out the solo dating video. It's really dope. Day 26. That was a late night live on Friday after I got back from the FIFA Fan Festival. Baby, I was tired and I might have been a little tipsy, but I showed up. And, we just discussed my experience at the FIFA Fan Festival. I actually wanted to talk about verses with Pretty Ricky versus B2K, but I totally forgot. So, just to let you know, I predicted that Pretty Ricky was going to take the cake because I love B2K. I had B2K plastered over my walls as a child. I have the photo evidence as well. But I don't even know any of B2K's deep cuts. And I thought maybe once I saw them perform on verses that they would come back up. I didn't know them. And that's not anything, that's not saying anything about them or their talent. But a lot of people felt the same way. So I wasn't too off on that. I knew that I would know every single song that Pretty Ricky performed. And I did. And they did a great job. They both did a great job, but Pretty Ricky took the cake. So, anywho, we talked about FIFA festival on Friday, and then on Saturday I actually gave you a recap vlog of how me and Latrice, who I collaborate with for Cowboy Cupid, how we went out there to the park, Centennial Olympic Park here in Atlanta for the FIFA Fan Festival, and we had a dope time. Like we was out there just having a time for ourselves, but also rocking our Cowboy Cupid gear. We had the QR codes on the back. We were meeting new people, inviting men and women out, just having some dope conversations. Latrice did rock, paper, scissors for a drink, and she won. We whooped some dudes from Eritrea, because we want to call it Eritrea, but I think they pronounce it Eritrea. We whooped them on the foosball table. We had a good time, and we got to see DeVito. There's two ways to pronounce it. We got to see DeVito live. It was dope. So you can go check that vlog out. And then on Sunday, Self Care Sunday, I've dropped a vlog of spa day at a Korean bathhouse. A lot of people haven't experienced the Korean bathhouse, and I thought it was a good day since Self Care Sunday to share my experience at one of the newer Korean bathhouses here in Duluth, Georgia. There's one popular one that most everybody has gone to, and I love that one too. But I tried a new one for my homegirl's birthday last year, and I shared that experience. So go check that out. And then yesterday's Zestful Living with Sweet Tea morning show, me and Mama and me, however you want to call it. Let me see. What did we talk about? I thought I took some pictures of the topics, but I'm gonna have to go back and look. I know we talked about just relationships and life and whatever came to mind. I don't remember. I'm gonna have to go look at the recap, but you can check that out under the live tab. And then this is day 30. We made it. I wish I had the sound effects of the applause, but we made it. That's 30 days of long form content, and I believe. Let me see if I can check this out. I think. Let me look. Let me not even try to guess. So the shortest video, because long form content on YouTube is over 3 minutes. The shortest video was 4 minutes and 41 seconds. That was that rainbow walk. There were a few videos that were less than 5 minutes, or I would say less than 6 minutes. But oh no, there was a journaling prompt that was 3 minutes and 25 seconds. So that was probably the shortest video, but most of them were over 6 or 7 minutes. And the longest video, let's see, I think this is close here. The longest video I put out this month was the solo dating video, which was 28 minutes and 10 seconds. And a close runner up was well, actually, if you count the part one and part two of how I survived being unemployed for 7 years, um, combined, that's almost like almost an hour of content. So actually, part two was the winner. Part two was 28 minutes and 34 seconds. Part one was 27 minutes and 3 seconds. So the longest videos were part two, solo dating, and then part one. So I think all of the videos are pretty reasonably, pretty reasonable with the length of time. Put it on your TV, put it on your laptop, put it on your phone, press play, check it out. You can be doing your chores or whatever while you're watching. And I think you'll enjoy the content. If you haven't checked it out already, it's plenty of opportunity to go back and check it out. So let's get into these numbers. Because I know a lot of people have considered doing a 30-day challenge on YouTube, long form content on YouTube. They want to see what type of growth they can possibly have. And everybody's numbers are going to be different, but these are mine. So for the month of June, the I got 17,376 views in June. And that was 58% more than I did in May. So that was dope to have that amount of growth. Let me see here. I think I got a little change since I put these numbers down. Okay. So we got 17,376 views in June, which is 58% more. Then May, we have 104.3 watch hours, which was 12% more than May. And then we have 61 new subscribers, which is 8% more than May. So we did pretty good. I would say so. Over 17,000 views, over 100 watch hours, and over 60 new subscribers. And the 61 subscribers, that's like an average of two subscribers a day. So I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the consistency. I'm proud of the measurable growth that I can see. Um, and it just inspires me to keep going because, you know, the numbers aren't everything, but they do allow you to see if what you're doing is making sense. You know what I'm saying? Because if it was going down, if my graphs were going down, if the numbers were going down, if there was no growth from the previous month, then I would have to go all the way back to the drawing board. So I'm proud of myself for that. So cheers to that. Cheers to growth in the month of June. So what I really wanted to talk about are some things that I learned over these 30 days. So I would say that vulnerability is one of my superpowers. Being honest and transparent and authentic and just showing up, being real, you know? I think that that is what really has people gravitate towards my content. It's not necessarily about being perfect. It's not about, everything being in one box. It's just really just sitting here. This is where I recorded most of my content here and then upstairs in my office and just talking, sharing my thoughts, sharing my stories, sharing my tips and the things that I have to offer. And I really think that that did the best for me when it comes to my top performing videos. The sparkling mimosa lemonade is the top performing one, but the recipe is what got you in there. But really, it was more so about the benefits of the mimosa flower and also just about how things align because the way that the mimosa flower showed up in my life, a lot of people don't know, and this is maybe an exclusive. I might have talked about it over these 30 days, but I personally was healing from my own heartbreak over this spring season. And so for this mimosa flower to show up on my timeline and then literally in my line of vision outside of my bedroom window in my neighbor's yard, and for me to be able to get some from him and create this recipe. And this flower is known to heal or support people with depression and heartbreak. I just thought that was a beautiful alignment. So I wanted to share that as well. And then, of course, talking about my journey with leaving my nursing career and embarking on self employment and entrepreneurial journeys, that is really a big deal to share. And I didn't get as deep as I can get on that subject because there's more to share. But people don't really realize the ups, downs, and the pros and cons of leaving a career. And people also can relate to the desire to want to and just not know where to start, if they should, if they do, what they should do first. So I really think that that was helpful for a lot of people to hear my personal journey of going through that, currently going through it, and the highs and lows of it, because it's not all about taking the leap of faith and everything working out immediately. There's a journey. There's a destination, a goal, an intention that's set, and things that we want to meet when we take these leaps of faith. But there's also obstacles. There's hardships. There's doubts. There's fears. All of these things that come along on that journey. So I think that's what resonated with people on that particular video. And then, of course, talking about the emotional labor of being in a relationship with a partner that doesn't have the capacity to show up in the ways that you need them to. I think a lot of people can relate to that. And I noticed that one of the commenters talked about how feeling alone in a relationship is one of the worst things that you can feel. And I totally can relate to that. And I agree. Like, it's much better to feel lonely or alone when you're actually alone than when you have a partner that's supposed to make you feel like, together. You're in this together, you belong, you're connected, and it's relatable. So I really think that vulnerability, you know, and meaningful conversations surrounding vulnerability is what really stood out to a lot of people. Even when it comes to, solo dating, people are afraid to do that. There's a lot of people that don't like to be alone at all, that have fear surrounding it, that don't know where to start, that feel like they always have to have somebody, that feel like they're just watching everybody else live and they're watching their own life go by. And that video can inspire them to step out there and go on out there and try things on your own and start living. The second thing I learned was, it kind of confirmed to me that I don't, I just, it's impossible. I ain't gonna say it's impossible because nothing's impossible. Impossible. Things are happening every day. It's not impossible, but it's challenging and undesirable for me to try to fit myself into a box. And I also recognize that a lot of other people can relate to that. I cook, I vlog, I coach, I support people, I strategize. I do a lot of things. I talk about relationships, I host events, I I travel when I can. I get out, I journal, I do all of these things. And sometimes it doesn't resonate with people to come to my page. Like somebody said, well, I see you talking about this topic about whatever it was. Let's just say it was about therapy. And then I see a lemonade recipe. Yeah, you do. Because there's relevancy there and there's connection there if you take the time to look at the actual content. And I know for some people, they need the type of structure and the type of, just clear understanding of your page is this and this is all you talk about. But for me and people like me, that's boring. I don't want to just sit there and talk about one thing all the time. And I get it. There are channels created to talk about one topic, and there's plenty of channels to choose from if you like, going to a place and it's a one stop shop. But over here, we're talking about everything. We're talking about love, life, and showing up as your authentic self in all areas, including business and strategizing and just coming up with something that aligns with you as an authentic individual. It's not about fitting into a niche, into a box, into what is palatable for other people. It's about what feels right for you. So I just I think my job is just becoming better at helping people understand what connects everything that I create. So it gave me an opportunity to kind of like make it make sense for other people because it makes sense to me. But it did allow me to help, communicate better when it comes to that. The third lesson I learned over these 30 days is that support, it looks different than what I actually desire, but it also um it's not shocking. I would say that because I would be lying if I didn't say there were moments over these 30 days that I wasn't feeling away or that I didn't feel a little disappointed or I didn't feel, um, you know, as supported. But I'm not new to this. I think that each challenge that we give ourselves or each goal that we set, sometimes these things come back up. And I've been doing embarking on new ventures since 2012. This is 2026. So 14 years of having this reoccurring lesson or this reoccurring message of everybody's not going to support you. Everybody's not going to support you in the way that you would support them. Everybody's not going to support you the way you want the support. Everybody is not going to be your target audience. Whatever I'm creating is not necessarily for everybody. So even though it will be wonderful, I'm not seeing as much engagement from people that I know or people that know that I'm embarking on this challenge or shares or likes or check-ins or congratulations or motivation or anything like that. But you have to learn to stop taking those things personal because if you don't, you will be disappointed all the time. I'm not gonna lie, there were moments that I did feel the disappointment, but then I quickly snatched myself out of that energy because, for one, your the closest people to you are not necessarily your audience. I'm not creating what I do for my village per se, but I will say that the conversations that I'm having on my platform, the services that I offer, the people in my closest circle do benefit from those things. I had a conversation with one of my homegirls the other day, and like three of the topics that I posted this month on my channel, we were talking about just organically. People call my phone and we unpack things, and I, support people in certain ways, but that might be the avenue that they choose to receive it from me. They may not want to, come over here on YouTube and watch a video when they've already talked to me about it in real life. So it makes me just have to get out of that. I don't want to call it like victim mindset, woe is me or whatever. It's more so like the word that I've already used, just disappointment. You you just can't expect anything from anybody. So you can't take it personal. You don't know what people are going through. You don't know what people have time for. You don't know if people have actually seen it on their timeline, even though you might feel like, well, if I'm posting all the time, I know you've been seeing this. And you ain't, you don't know. And even if they have seen it, it may not even be anything personal. It might just be it's not their thing. So I would say that that's a lesson that comes up for me when I have something new that I'm doing, because once I'm in it, I don't necessarily look for the support from the people closest to me. But I think in the beginning, you kind of just naturally want that support and encouragement from other people. But I want to shout out my number one biggest supporter. If nobody else supports me, this person does, and that's my mother, Latanja C. Millhouse. C stands for Cerese, as in Osha Cerese, Latanja Cerese, aka Sweet Tea. Thank you, Mama, because if nobody else support me, even and when I ain't gonna say I don't. There's any time that I don't believe in myself, but when I have doubts, or when I feel burnt out, or when I feel overwhelmed or overstimulated, or unsupported or unseen or unheard, you are the person that encourages me, motivates me, inspires me, uplifts me, amplifies me. You share what I have going on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You here now. You share what I have going on. You even promote it. And I don't even have to ask you to do it. You're just always, you know, proud of me, and you share with me that you're proud of me. And those type of things keep me going. And so I really appreciate that. So that's another thing. Like when we feel unsupported or unseen by the people in our village, we have to stop putting so much emphasis on who's not seeing us, who's not supporting us, and uplift and big up the people who are, because that's where your energy should be focused on. Like the people who are supporting, the people who are showing up, the people who are mentioning your name in rooms that you're not in, and telling people about what you do, and just being in your corner, because there's always going to be somebody like that. Even when you feel that there's not somebody, even if they're not in your direct circle, if there's a subscriber, even if it's just one, because there's one particular subscriber that showed up for me multiple times this month as well, engaging in my content, actually watching it and commenting on it. And everybody don't want their name shouted out, but because she commented publicly, I'm sure she won't mind. So let me just shout her out too, because there were multiple posts that she watched and commented on. So I want to make sure I highlight her as well. So on YouTube, her name is at prim_rose, PRIM_ROZAY. And I'm definitely going to spend some time going over on her page and watching some of her content. And I already just looked at her page and saw some of the topics already resonate with me. So I'm going to make sure I spend some time this week doing the same thing for her as she did for me. So that's another thing. Like, we want support and we complain about people not supporting us, but are you supporting other people? So I'm definitely going to return the favor for her as well. And so those are the two people that I want to highlight for my biggest supporters. My mother, biggest supporter of all time. Sweet Tea Inspirations here on, let me make sure I got, if you're on YouTube, my mother's YouTube handle is Boom, 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 boom. Let's see here. Her YouTube handle is at Latonja Millhouse. So that's LatonjaMilhouse. Latonja, Latonja, and Millhouse with one Milhouse. And then shout out to Prim_Rose. So when it comes to that, I think that's probably one of the biggest things for me is, everything that we do, there's a mirror that comes up. You're welcome. There's a mirror that's held up to us when it comes to being in relationships, when it comes to embarking on new challenges. And this entrepreneurial journey is also a self discovery journey in itself. And so that's something that I have to personally work on, not, feeling offended if somebody doesn't support me in the way that I want them to, because it's not something that you can take personally. It's just something that it should encourage you to build your own community of people who want to support you. It's nothing, it doesn't have to be anything personal. So that's something that came up again, even though I snatched it back every time I felt that feeling. It is something that I can know, I can understand and see that I can still work on and do better with. Lesson number 4 with this 30-day challenge was structure. It creates freedom, and it really supports not feeling overwhelmed, overstimulated, and burnt out when you're doing these type of challenges. Uh, I've always considered myself to be a creative, but without a system, it can kind of create a little chaos. So you got to have some structure when it comes to everything that you do, when it comes to social media, content creation, influencing, and business. Now, my YouTube channel, I'm building community over here, and I'm also promoting my business. So having structure really supported me. I started out with already having a few videos recorded before the month of June even started. And I think I spent a few days just doing batch recording, and that helped tremendously. So I really had all of my Tuesdays and Thursdays pre recorded, and most of my Wednesdays pre recorded. And I just had to focus on editing and scheduling. So I had everything scheduled out for the month, and that was tremendously helpful. Then Mondays and Fridays were live videos, which was also helpful because I didn't have to worry about pre-recording and editing. And then Saturdays and Sundays, I was winging it on Saturdays and Sundays. I ain't even gonna lie. That's where my creativity had to come in at. I knew the theme of the weekend was more so like self-care, vlogs, lifestyle. So that helped. But I had to figure out what I was going to post when I got there, because that was all I had. I knew Wednesdays were going to be journaling prompts, so that was helpful. Mondays, Mama and Me segment. Fridays, Catch Up Live. Tuesdays and Thursdays already had those pre recorded. So that was very helpful. The batch recording, the scheduling, the planning. And then some things that I learned over these 30 days were, because I got feedback, and Threads was very helpful. Um, Threads was also, another lesson for me, because I did open up the, what is it, Pandora's box, and ask them why they felt like my content wasn't getting the views for real. Because my views were pretty low, even though I was creating every day in the beginning. They're still they're gonna go up. Just because they're not super high right now, that doesn't mean people won't go back and watch. But the views at that point were lower than I thought they would be. And I put myself out there and I asked people their opinion of why. And most of the comments were, I needed better thumbnails and better titles. So the titles, I switched those up. I'm still learning how to do better when it comes to titles on YouTube. From what I'm gathering is that you need to have searchable titles. Just like if somebody was to Google something, you want your titles to be like Googleable. I keep looking down at my mic, y'all, to make sure it's not going out. And then the thumbnails, what I learned and what I'll share with you all, you don't want to duplicate the title of the video for the thumbnail. That would just be wasting space. So you want to do a thumbnail that's also catchy with the way it looks as well as what words you put on it, and you want to have a minimum amount of words. So you don't want too many words on the thumbnail. And then of course you want the thumbnails to be cohesive. Also what I did, because most of my thumbnails kind of just have, they have the same color profile. Like I have a color palette for my brand, but the fonts were different. So I did change all the fonts to be the same, and I'm still doing better. So there's still room for growth, but I think that the thumbnails are getting better, the titles are getting better. So I definitely learned that, and you know, I just understood that systems don't have to limit my creativity; they just kind of protect it. They kind of get you organized and get you in a position to not feel burnt out. Lesson number 5 that I learned being over here on YouTube is that I actually enjoy YouTube. I feel like I thrive better and I show up better with long form content. I'm a certified yapper. So I can sit here and talk for, I ain't gonna say for hours, but I can talk. And I feel like I show up more authentically in long form content, because when you create shorter form content, you have to figure out how to get the message across as well as show up in your person, as yourself authentically in a short amount of time. And it's, to me, it's easier said than done, because for one, I think when you've worked in corporate for so long, or when you've had to present yourself in a certain light, as Black people, we have to code switch in certain situations as well. You still kind of have like a certain level of professionalism that automatically comes out. Because even right now, I'm talking like myself, but I am still kind of like a little polished with how I'm talking. But it's gonna come in and out. You'll hear me talk in different tones or whatever, but in short form content, it's like it sounds scripted even when it's not, to me. I haven't really mastered the you know the short form content and fully feeling like I'm my authentic self. So that's something that I'll be working on, which I'm gonna talk about in a minute. But I thought that posting every day, the long form content, I thought I would be completely burnt out. And I can honestly say that I'm not, based on what I learned when it comes to structure and systems. And also because I actually enjoy it. It didn't feel like a burden. I really enjoyed creating the content, and I enjoyed the conversations. I enjoyed the topics. I enjoyed just coming over here being myself, and growing a community, because that's what I really want to have. I want to have a community of people who do see and understand and hear what I have to say, and it resonates with them, and the people that can benefit from my services, and the people that want clarity in their own lives on how to be able to show up as their authentic self, and they don't necessarily have to fit in nobody's box. And also the people who need support with transformation. Transformation can come in so many different forms, and that's what I support people in as a dream doula. Doula is supporting people in transformation. A doula, when we think of a doula, we think of a labor doula, which I did learn how to be one as well, with supporting a woman and a family when it comes to birthing a life. But as a dream doula, I want to support you with birthing your dreams, whether that's life, love, or business. Like, what do you want to birth in your life? What transformation do you need if you're leaving a job and you're starting as an entrepreneur, or you're just switching careers, you're pivoting? If you are leaving a relationship, you're getting a divorce, you're starting a new journey of intentional dating. If you're, just looking to show up on social media and you don't really know how to show up, and it's something new for you, or you have content and you kind of need to transform it into something that feels more authentic to you and connects with your audience. These are the things that I want to support people with, as well as show you my own journey with doing it. Because somebody asked me on Threads, when I did open the Pandora's box to other people's opinions, she said, "Are you showing up on your YouTube channel as like a big cousin that has advice through lived experiences? Or are you showing up as a coach?" And I feel like, what's wrong with doing both? Because that's how I've always shown up as a certified life coach. I'm not just sitting here on a throne trying to show y'all this is how you do things. This is what you do. This is the right way. And no, I'm big cousin. I'm gonna show you that you don't have to go through what I've gone through in order to learn these lessons. Take some of the lessons that I learned and benefit from them, so I can utilize my education and my experience and all of that, my tools that have gained as a life coach. And I'm also going to pull in the experience that I have as a woman, the experiences I have as someone who has gone through a marriage and gone through a divorce, the experience that I have with learning to navigate dating in modern times, the experience that I have with curating safe spaces for other people to connect and get to know each other, the experiences that I have from leaving a career and pivoting to different careers, or just pivoting and becoming an entrepreneur and what that looks like, the transformation and the experience that I've had with showing up on social media and being your authentic self and being fully confident in that. Hello. The experience is there as well as the tools and the education. So that is what I really like about YouTube, just being able to build that community and support people that resonate with my message. Number 6. The obstacle. Every obstacle taught me something, but I would say the biggest obstacle, it wasn't motivation, even though sometimes, everybody could feel a little unmotivated sometimes. It wasn't doubt. It wasn't the fact that people weren't supporting like I really wanted them to. It wasn't not feeling seen or heard or understood. It was storage. My biggest obstacle during these 30 days was storage, phone storage. And I learned a lot about that too, because my initial plan, I came up with the challenge that I wanted to do 30 days of long form content, kind of like in mid May. I had a plan, or maybe it was late May. I had a plan of batch creating 28 pieces of long form content, 28 to 30 pieces of long form content in a week. And I had a number, I had all my topics that I wanted to discuss, and I was going to try to do 4 to 5 videos a day. Day one, I realized that wasn't going to happen, because even recording 1 or 2 videos created a storage issue in my phones. And I have 2 phones that I record and create on. That was, it sounds simple, but it was like a really big headache and it was stressful. I had to get on the phone with Apple, because I also pay for iCloud storage. I pay $30 a month for iCloud storage. And I'm like, I haven't met my iCloud storage, but the phone storage is the problem. And then them trying to tell me if you delete anything off your phone, it deletes out of the iCloud. And I'm like, I thought the iCloud saves everything. So it was just a lot. So what I've learned is I've learned some tricks. I've learned, how to record, how to edit, and how to save. And I pretty much at this point, with what I have, with the resources I have, I can pretty much do 1 or 2 videos in a day. I when it More than that, it's gonna be tricky. But I've learned how to compress the files, how to, do what I need to do to edit and save. And I'm gonna try to wrap this live up within the hour. We're at 53 minutes and 53 seconds. So let me tell y'all that. But what I've learned is that you need an external hard drive, which I will invest in one day. I think SD cards and different things that will help, you be able to put your storage on a bigger external drive. There's other ways to kind of get some extra storage in your phone, but you just got to work with it and figure it out. I found an app that kind of helped me get duplicates off of my phone and different things. But that was really my biggest obstacle. So overall, I'm super proud of myself. I'm super thankful for everyone who has supported me and who's shown up. I'm super grateful for all of the lessons that I've learned, all of the tips and tools that I've learned and gained, and for all of the new subscribers. And I'm looking forward to gaining even more. And with that being said, let's get into what goal we set that we didn't make and what our goals are for July. So I said that the goal for June was to create long form content every day, which we did do. And then there was another goal that I had that we did not make, but we're still working towards, which was the 4,000 watch hours. At this moment of time, we have, my stomach is growling. We have 793.1 watch hours. So, what we gonna have to do is pump it up. And with the watch hours, it has to be within 365 days, from what I'm understanding. In 2025, I got 1,020 watch hours, but this year, 413.9 so far. And within the 365 days, again, 793.1. So we're just going to make some changes in July based on that and based on what I've seen over these past 30 days, what I've noticed. Because in addition to posting the long form content, there were days where I posted reels or shorts as well. And my shorts get way more views than my long form content. And a lot of people report that as well. It's a lot more challenging to get views from the long form content than it is from the shorts. So I had some shorts that got close to 2,000 views or right around that, over that, well over 1,000, well over 500. And that lets me know that there's an audience there that likes the short form content. So that's where I'm going to be putting most of my focus in on for the month of July. But I will still be posting long form content, but just not every day. And that was another thing that I learned from Threads, is that YouTube doesn't even really reward people for posting long form content every day. Which I thought that the whole point is to keep, I guess the whole point is to keep people on the platform, and maybe they're seeing, because the shorts do better, maybe that's why they reward that. So going forward in July, we're still going to be showing up on Mondays live with Mama for the Mama and Me segments. I'm still going to be giving you all journaling prompts every Wednesday. And I'm going to try to check in with y'all on Friday nights for our live, intimate conversation and our check-ins. Um, at the very least, it'll be every other week, but I will try to come and sit with y'all on Fridays live. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be focused on shorts this upcoming month of July. We're gonna do at least 1 to 2 intentional long form content outside of what I just named, the 2 lives and the journaling prompts. I am gonna try to do at least 1 to 2 long form videos every week, more vlogs, more storytelling, and more shorts for July. So stay tuned for that. And if there's anything that you actually would like to hear me speak on more, I'm always open to feedback, opinions, suggestions. I would love for you to check out what I've posted so far. And if you feel like, oh, I want to see more of that, let me know. If you see something and you're like, I don't really like this content from you, it's not my thing, let me know that too. I'm open. So overall, I really learned that maybe my inner child still desires to be seen and understood and feel like, not necessarily like I belong, because I've always, you get in where you fit in. I'm a Leo, so hey, I don't necessarily have to fit into whatever people want, but I do desire to feel seen and understood. And that definitely showed up for me over these 30 days. But the benefits of that is redirecting it from who doesn't see you to who does, and also being able to see yourself and understand yourself and having that clarity and that confidence to show up as your authentic self. The expectation of reciprocity, you just got to drop it. You just got to do what it is in your heart and your spirit to do for other people. And if it doesn't come in return, you just do what feels right for you. It's not a tit for tat thing. And, I've just learned so much, and I really appreciate this journey for teaching me everything that it's taught me. We just made 1 hour, and I appreciate you all for tuning in to this 30-day recap of what I learned over this 30-day challenge. Again, I'm Osha Cerese, your dream doula, supporting you on life, love, and business, supporting you with birthing the life, love, and business you desire. And, if you watch these videos, it's probably because you're rebuilding or you're gaining clarity or it resonates with you to, show up as your authentic self, and maybe you're embarking on a transformation in some area of your life. If you need support, I'm here to do more than yap. I'm actually here to support you on your journey. I am a certified life coach. I am a content strategist. I am the dream doula, supporting you on birthing the life, love, and business you desire. So feel free, I invite you to book a call with me to support you on your journey. If you do not know what area in your life, love, or business that you need support with, there's a complimentary discovery call that you can hop on with me, and we can determine which area you need the support in. There's also some complimentary tools as well that you can, you know, check out. But I would love to support you on your journey of clarity, of transformation, of self discovery, of self love, of being your authentic self. And if you are in the Atlanta area, I support you in person. There's going to be some in person events coming up as well, from the Intentional Love Collective, which is my brand. And thank you so much. Thank you for the encouragement. There's gonna be some in-person opportunities, but also, Cowboy Cupid, the collaborative event series that I do with Latrice Monet of the Original Cowboy Club. We have an event coming up July 10th at 10 p.m. Barner's Restaurant and Tavern in Smyrna, Georgia. It's called Cowboy Cupid MVP, Meet, Vibe, Play. We have curated experience, icebreakers, activities, games, contests, and the main mission is to connect you with meeting new people without the awkwardness and the pressure. So come out. Let's talk, let's meet, let's connect, let's, you know, meet new people in person. And again, as your dream doula, I want to support you on your individual goals and needs. So book a call with me at stan dot store store /Osha Cerise, OSHACERESE. And again, you can connect with me on all platforms at Osha Cerise. That's OSHACERESE. And stay tuned for July because we have a whole new challenge. But cheers to everything that we accomplished in June on this 30-day long form content challenge. Thank you all for joining me on this challenge, encouraging me, supporting me, motivating me, inspiring me, and being here to watch the growth in real time. So if you haven't checked any of the videos out, now's the perfect time. Go binge watch something, go look at a playlist, go look at what I've posted this month, go look under my live tabs. And I can't wait to meet and talk and hear from you all. And I will talk to you later. Good night.